Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, my haunted journal edition. If you're new here, this is my haunted journal. It's where I casually yap about what's going on in my life, especially anything supernatural I'm experiencing. I also share channel updates, everyday life with my boyfriend, and thoughts on things in the media like true crime, though the supernatural is usually the main focus. On this channel, you'll find three types of content: this haunted journal series, short mini mysteries, and longer investigative deep dive videos. You can find my mini mysteries on my shorts tab, and then I also started integrating a little walkthroughs on the cozy, scary type vibe game walkthrough video games once in a while. So that is the new addition, but those are the main type of contents that I have recently been posting. And yeah, so with that all said, let's get into today's video. Like always, usually what I do is I just kind of like do updates on my life, updates on the channel, updates on what's on my mind, and then kind of get into like things I've been watching entertainment wise, and then kind of get into supernatural stuff, or kind of like the main topic of this video. So as far as updates, nothing too much going on. I just had a little bit of an early birthday dinner and we watched a movie. um we watched The Rope by um Alfred Hitchcock, I believe. Big Hitchcock fan. And so we watched that. I've never seen that one actually. It was really good. Jimmy Stewart was in it. Jimmy Stewart is an amazing actor. Like, I don't know, something about his voice. It's just so good. Like, so good. Amazing actor. One of my favorites. And the movie was really good. It was pretty short. It was only like an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes. Really good though. Like, it was kind of like a simple movie. It's about these two young guys that decide that they want to plan the perfect murder, and then you'll see how it goes from there. But it was really well done, and I really enjoyed it. So if that's something you're into, I highly suggest watching it. There were some funny parts, just like I don't know, like ironically funny. Like, I think they meant it to be funny, but like also like it was also like the characters, not the actors, but the characters weren't trying to be funny, if that makes sense. So everyone in the movie were really good actors. So really suggest it. It was very well done, and it was fun to watch. And then we had some ice cream cake and some steak for dinner. And of course, Buddy got some. Kitty didn't get any steak, but Kitty got some. I had a sandwich for an early lunch, and she got some of the turkey from the sandwich. So she was all good. But Buddy loved his steak. He literally got his own like little one, and he just like ran off with it and enjoyed it. So he loves it when it's holidays because he always gets something. So I say holidays, but it's also Mother's Day weekend. Mother's Day weekend is kind of weird for me because, again, it's around my birthday, and then my mom died at a young age, so it's always kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of a bleh like time, right? Because you think about the stuff that you would be doing with your mom or what you missed out with your mom. So if you're someone that, if it's a awkward time for you too, you're not alone on that. But yeah, I guess that kind of pivots into like some more talk. I know I mentioned in one haunted journal where I mentioned like when my mom's, I believe it was her great grandmother, passed away, who she was very close with, and pretty much like helped raise her. She told me, and she wasn't like a super like, she was a spiritual person, but not someone that was like doing chakra beads or anything like that, or like ghost hunting or anything like that. But she had like her faith kind of like me, right? Where we like believed, but we weren't like super into it. We could have like discussions about supernatural stuff, right? And I always was kind of like, not, especially when I got older, not like angry, but like when I was younger, I was kind of like, where's my sign from my mom? You know what I mean? Because she said she got a sign from her great grandmother. She was crying in the car and she missed her. And she said something like, you know, um, I miss, she's like, why you cry, Krulenchu? That's what she called her. And, she heard it from her car, and it was like very quick. And she was like, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Something like that, to that effect. And so it was always something like I kind of longed to have, right? And I haven't. But recently, um, it's kind of funny because, like I said, I've had a big spiritual awakening in 2023. We all know this if you've been following my channel at um, anything. And again, nothing too much from my mom in the sense of like, it's almost like when I did feel like during my like big, if you want to call it manic supernatural spiritual awakening, it almost felt like it was too good to be true because I felt like I almost had a conversation with her, but like in my head, as weird as it sounds. And but it almost like I ignored it because it's like one of those things that's so hard to talk about and so emotional to talk about that like it's like I just don't even want to like think that is a possibility, right? And so I kind of like put it to the side or whatever, right? But recently, as my life has kind of calmed down since then, um, I've been seeing, and it really just started this. So to get back to the signs from my mom, so I'm kind of like a little over the place because I'm trying to like choose my words carefully. But right before she passed, she gave me this like ruby red heart, right? And it was like this little heart that it was like a little trinket. She liked to go to a lot of like antique stores and stuff like that, like kind of like high end ones to find like, cool cabinets and things like that. And she got this little red heart and it was like clear red heart, but it was like opaque clear. I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of like, I guess, foggy in the center or whatever. And she gave it to me. And I remember distinctly when she gave it to me, I was in the back seat and she was in the front. And she just was like, here, this is a sweet little gift she gave me. And she passed away like not long after that, right? Her death was really sudden for me anyway. And um, so she gave me that heart. And I remember when she passed away, I was sitting on my bed and she was in the hospital. And they were saying like there was stuff they weren't really saying, but like it didn't seem good, right? And I think she was pretty much in a coma. And I remember sitting on my bed before going to school. And I think after that, like during school that day, they took us out of school and she had passed, right? And I was looking on the bed before school and I was holding the heart and I was like, I will do anything to talk to my mom. Like, you can't, like, I can't live without my mom. Like, it was just like in my mind, there was just no way possible to live without my mom because I was a very socially awkward child. I, was going through like the puberty. I was 14 at the time. Like, I was just very awkward. I started getting more introverted at this time and I didn't really have a lot of friends. And, you know, and my mom was like the glue to the family, right? And like the one person that like knew me the most, right? Probably better than myself. Actually, she did know me better than herself. And so she gave me that heart. And then I remember in the hospital, the doctor ended up telling us, we went in the small room and I just like lost it, obviously. And I ended up throwing the heart. And I was like, and they were like, why'd you throw the heart or something? I was like, it doesn't work because I like basically held it and I was like, I will do anything to keep my mom, right? And so I threw the heart and I was sad about it, right? And so, um, and then after that she passed, it was just like life just flew by. It was just like it's exactly how people say if you lost someone, where it's like you just keep going. And my family wasn't very big on mourning. Like her funeral was quick and then it was in and out and then life just went on, right? And I kind of, just blindly found my way through, right? And um after that, I never really thought about my mom. I never really talked to people about my mom. There's many reasons why, but that's just the case. It was just like she was gone, right? Um, and so moving on from there, after like going through life and things like that, with the spiritual awakening, and it's so funny because if you go look at the video that I posted, and I remember in the video I said I started seeing signs from her, and I'm going to explain what the signs were since then, but when I posted it, I obviously used ChatGPT to make my thumbnails, right? So I'll just put it and be like, this is what the video is about. And I like my little theme with the baby bear and raccoon because that's me and my boyfriend. And like I call him the raccoon and he calls me the baby bear, right? That's just us being goofy. That's just us being silly or whatever. And well, it's not silly. It's cute. We like nicknames, and he also calls me his little pierogi. But and my mom used to make me pierogies. She made the best pierogies. She was a very good cook. And um uh so I started noticing a lot of hearts like everywhere. And when I made that video talking about my mom, and I made the chat GPT, because sometimes I don't know what I'm going to talk about when I start yapping. um I made the image afterwards, right? And there was a heart on there. And it was weird because when I said in the video, I said I didn't want to like mention the signs, but I have been seeing hearts everywhere. It's like, it's crazy. And it hasn't really stopped since. There's been a little lull, but then sometimes when I get sad or something, I'll just all of a sudden be like, when you're just like staring off in space or you have a bad thought or something, all of a sudden I would see a little heart again, whether it be like, because like the condensation in your water will form a heart, or you'll, a cloud. I didn't see a cloud, but like a cloud thing, or you would just see a heart on someone's Instagram or something like that. I've been seeing hearts everywhere. And I just found it ironic that the ChatGPT included the heart on that one. And now it includes it a lot, but prior to that, you can look at my images. There weren't hearts on my ChatGPT images. So I was like, oh, wow, that's like, I just felt like it was another sign. And it's so funny because Kermie calls me like a baby bear because I'm like someone that like, I feel like I'm a nice person. I really do. But when I love someone, I love people hard. And that's why I'm kind of a closed off person. And I think a lot of people can relate, because when you get hurt, when you love really hard and you get hurt, it hurts way harder, right? So I'm kind of a closed off person. But when I do love people and I do care about people, it's like, I become like a little baby bear where I'm like, I get very like, like attack mode. You can ask my boyfriend. And that's just always been kind of my personality, right? Like it's just kind of ironic because again, I'm kind of quiet when you meet me, but then when it's like I feel like something's being injustice and it's like upsets me, I just go in. And that's why he calls me baby bear. And it's kind of funny because my mom was like a mama bear, you know what I mean? And me and my boyfriend were talking about it because he's never met my mom in this world anyway. I don't know what he does behind the scenes, but I'm just kidding. But like, you know what I mean? Because he's very big into the supernatural as well. But like, um, like, 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 I just have a feeling she was a lot like me in that sense, right? When it came to her kids, she was very protective, and not even just her kids, but her friends and like, people that she loved. She just was very protective, right? And very nice person, funny. And it's so funny because I'll do voices with my, if you see my Instagram posts, or sometimes in these videos I'll do voices with my cats and my dogs. And my mom used to do that. We had a lot of pets growing up, and she used to do the voices all the time with our pets. And I just started doing it. It was so ironic. I kind of did it once in a while before that with my two cats, like joking around, but I really started getting into it in 2023, like right before my spiritual awakening, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, getting into the supernatural. And I've been doing it ever since, right? And it's just something I'll tease, Kermie about. Like, I'll do Kitty's voice where it's like, Daddy, like, do you love me, Daddy? Like, and just like follow him around and like, be his little princess. And like, I'll do Buddy's voice, and you know what I mean? Just thing. And it's something my mom used to do all the time with the pets. And I don't know. I just also feel like maybe that's also like a way of realizing that I'm getting close to her without even realizing it. Because one thing I talked about with HG, and I mentioned him before, but he's kind of like a father figure in that area, especially when it comes to supernatural and like kind of navigating my life. And, he's very big on like timing. And he said sometimes, when you want something emotionally, it's like you're not ready for it, right? Because you're focusing on something else, whether you're transitioning to a work environment, or you're transitioning to a new home, or you're having a baby, or you're doing all these things, and things that matter to us the most, like loved ones that we lost, and not degrees, and not, money. I mean, money matters, but you know what I mean, in the grand scheme of things, let's be real. Like what we want on our deathbed is our loved ones, right? What we miss the most is our loved ones, right? And it's one of those things where we just distract ourselves with all the other things, buying things, getting new houses. But at the end of the day, if you ask me, would I rather have my mom or a, you know, $1 million mansion? I would pick my mom, right? Like, and I think and I'm not special in that regard. I think most people would do that. But I also think I'm right now, I'm even like not choking up, but like I can feel it, right? Where it's like, even though I don't talk about her a lot, it's like, it wouldn't even take me a second to be like, I just want to talk to my mom, right? And I think that's with anything. Same with my cat. And I know it sounds weird. People can say you can't compare a cat to your mom. I had a cat named Boo who I lost in 2024 or early 2025, actually, um, in a very traumatic way. And, and I know it sounds weird. You can't, people are like, you compare a cat to your mom. And it's like, if I could have Boo back for the rest of my journey, it would just be like, what do you need? Right. And it kind of reminds me of like me sitting there with the heart and being like, I would do anything to have my mom. And part of me wonders if maybe I always did have my mom. I just didn't know where she was. Right. You know, part of me, maybe I was, I don't want to say, I definitely didn't make no deal with the devil because I have a very deep belief that if you're making a deal with the devil, right? I don't think it's pretty black and white. They might manipulate you into thinking you deserve that deal. But as far as like knowing what you're doing, I think that's the thing. But when I was sitting there as a kid, like it was almost like I was so angry that it didn't work, right? You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to hold this and I'm going to be like, I will do anything. And then it didn't work, but maybe in a weird way it did. And she's always been here and I just wasn't ready, right? Emotionally, right? Because clearly I'm an emotional person. um, if you can't tell by my videos, right? And when you care about something like that, even if it's just a cat, because like I said, if I could have Boo back for the rest of my journey, and depending what it is, unless it's like mass murdering or hurting someone, like intentional, you know what I mean? Something like that. I would, what do you want? Right. Because the world's hard enough and I would like my best friend because I love Buddy and I love Kitty. And no one can come to tell me that I love Boo and Kitty and Buddy more than Boo. Right. I'm just using this example, but it's a different thing. Boo gave me something in my life that I wouldn't have survived without her. And I know that sounds weird, but if anyone has a pet that when you were going through a long, hard time, she was just that girl, right? And my mom was like that girl. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Boo replaced my mom's love because it's a different type of love, but she was a temporary solution in between there, right? So I know I'm all over the place. I'm going to leave it here, but I just want to put in the universe if someone's missing someone, it doesn't have to be your mom. But, if you're waiting, if you're mad that you didn't get a sign or something like that, I really believe sometimes people are who's ever in charge of the universe knows you more than anyone. And they're just like, it's just not the time because I think it's, I don't know. I think you have to be really mentally prepared to get to that point, right? I don't think you're going to go on a talk show and some lady's going to be like, your mom loves you and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's like that. I think it's very personal and when you're ready type thing. And I don't think you look for it. I think it just kind of pops up. So, I'll keep you posted on it. It's more of a sensitive topic for me, but since it is Mother's Day, I thought I'd share. And I know the cat thing is weird, but if you know me and how much I love Boo, I still love her. Because that's another video. Sometimes I think I get signs from her too. It sounds weird. And if you told me this 5 years ago that I was getting signs from my cat first, I'd be like, what the heck is wrong with Boo? Like, because of my baby. Same with Kitty and Buddy, but it's just was like, I feel like she had a different role for me. Right. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to ramble too much, but I'm going to call it a day. I hope everyone's going good. I hope everyone has a great, start of the week. And as always, thank you for listening. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.